Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Finally, alhamdulillah, glad to have you on the show. Coach
Thank you,
Bashira.
Sister Bilkis. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah, as good as I can be.
Oh, okay.
As good as I
Mashallah.
can be. Jazakallahu khairan. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for honoring the invitation, however short it was. I truly appreciate you coming to my rescue. Jazak-
It's all right.
Jazakillahu khairan. So let's just get started without further ado. Um, Sister Bashirat is a coach. I'm going to ask her a lot of questions about her being a coach. But so let me just tell you that she's a coach. She's a mother, and she's an entrepreneur. So she's going to tell us everything about coaching business, her position as a mother, and how she runs her business, inshallah. So Bismillah, let's get started. Sister Bashirat, can you please tell us about your background? Where did you grow up? What school did you attend? Your family? Can we have an insight, please?
Um, my background is really dynamic. So, we have our roots in Kwara State, although I really didn't grow up like that. I'm very sure I only spent very few years with my grandmother. The only thing I did in Kwara is nursery school, actually.
Oh,
And
well.
nursery school and yeah, primary one. But well, our parents were those that really traveled a lot, so our education was
Okay.
somehow at the onset until they finally settled in Kano. So most of my background is from the north. Most of the things I do are in alignment with the northern part, the up north, because even Kwara is north. So primary school, secondary school, university, up to my master's level. So I had that in the north. So
Oh,
I have a background in
mashallah.
broadcast journalism from Bahrain University, Kano, and I have an MSc in Spain. But right now
Mashallah.
I'm not practicing. So
Okay.
people are asking for my background, just like I'm not practicing.
Okay.
So, but I used to practice, but right now I'm not practicing. Yeah. So that's
Okay.
really it about my background.
Um, so, mashallah, that's quite interesting to know. Bayero University, BUK, right? I
Mm-hmm.
must say that even without you saying it, I've seen. I used to think you were actually fully from the north. I used to think you were.
Yes.
I was. I can't.
I was
I've not
actually
seen you
I was
speak.
actually born in Yola, like where everyone's always
Wow,
traveling. So now where you meet them. My older brother was
interesting.
born in Bauchi, I was born in Yola. You
Wow,
were like so you were just a
mashallah,
dynamic type of family like that. So
mashallah.
really that's it. So
Mashallah, mashallah. That's quite interesting. And I love the dynamism, because Nigeria is such a huge place. Sometimes, when we are in our own cocoon, we can't imagine how big Nigeria is. As a matter of fact, when you just say 36 states, people just say the figure without actually comprehending that this country you are seeing is massive. It's,
mm,
it's so
that's
huge.
nice.
Yeah, so
We have
Alhamdulillah.
states as big as some countries in the world. So yeah,
Absolutely.
Nigeria is very big actually. Mm.
Mashallah, mashallah. That's interesting to know. So, okay, so you have a background in communication, but you're not practicing.
For
Okay.
now.
Well, for now,
Mm.
you're not practicing. Do you have any future plans of returning to broadcasting at any point?
Yeah, most likely I may be returning to the classroom to teach it, but I'm not sure if I'd go and practice it. But we
Okay,
don't know what the future holds really. So
okay, okay.
so
All right, all right.
I just keep my fingers crossed, but I know that I'm gonna most likely go back to the classroom. And yes, I know I have passion for teachers, so I know I'm going to most likely go back to the classroom. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Mashallah. So,
Inshallah.
that's interesting to know. And okay, so you have siblings. Are you the oldest? What position are you in the family?
I'm number two. Yeah, I have an older
Okay.
brother and a junior brother, and I have three
Oh,
stepsisters. So yeah,
oh,
yeah,
mashallah,
yeah, six.
mashallah.
No,
Oh,
four
okay.
stepsisters. We have seven. So.
Oh, mashallah. Yeah, that's quite a large family. Did that in any way influence you to imagine that at some point in your life you would like to have a large family of your own, or what?
They're not. Mm-mm.
You didn't want.
Keep it
you,
small. Mm-mm.
you keep it small.
I will keep it small person. Keep it small and with quality morals, quality education, quality everything.
Mashallah, mashallah. That's interesting to know. Okay, so now let me ask you about your coaching business. I know there are different types of coaching, and can you please enlighten us? What exactly do you do as a coach, and
Okay.
what brought about the idea of you being a coach, since you decided not to go with, I mean, what you were trained for as fully as a broadcaster, so what brought about the concept, the idea of being a coach?
Okay, I'd like to first tell you that first I was a science student until my father convinced me to join the arts class because I could be a lawyer. So first I wanted to be a lawyer and I made all my results, but I didn't get admission to study law because I didn't write literature in JAM. So
Mm,
so we had to opt for, because time wasn't on my side, so we had to opt for mass communications. And then I got in and I found it interesting. I'd be like, well, let's just go. So yeah, that's how I found myself in that area. Not that so I liked it and I enjoyed it. As you can see, I went further to have a master's degree in that. So um, but with what I do today as a life transition coach, it is life that pushed me to this path now. It wasn't. I'd never imagined that I'll be doing what I'll be doing now. And if somebody told me
mm,
I'll be doing this 10 years ago, I'll say no. I will say I'll most likely be in villages and remote communities doing,
mm,
something else,
mm,
right? Because
mm.
even studying journalism back in school, my passion has always been to help people,
Mashallah.
in their streets, to help people,
Mm,
learn skills. So that has been my passion. And I spent
mm,
all of the years in university doing that, you know, in my leisure time. That was all I was doing.
mm,
Um,
okay.
so I didn't really know I was going to become a life transition coach until
Mm,
life pushed me to it, right? So
mm,
and it's been really fun, and it's been tough and challenging at the start. It's not really something that is easy that you just jump into. You can't just jump into anywhere and say, yeah, a life
mm,
coach. Like,
mm,
I
mm.
tell people that if you look very well, I've not even branded myself as a life coach because I'm not sure I can coach somebody in every area of their life. But I know that I can coach people in certain areas of their lives and I can do that well. So I'm actually a life
Okay,
transition coach, and what I do basically
okay,
is to help people move from this point to another point. So you
okay,
have a traumatic experience and you're trying to see how you can get a better life. Okay, that's what I do. You suffer the loss and you're held back by that. Oh, okay, you experience a divorce and you're trying to move past that. Yes. Um, you are trying to transition from maybe probably a 9 to 5 employee to start your business,
mm,
something like that, and you want to gain
okay,
clarity. So something like gaining clarity
okay,
on purpose and moving to a better life
okay,
from a
mm,
from where you are now to where you want to be. I think
okay,
that's what my work is about. So I do
okay,
complementary therapy, grief
mm,
management,
okay,
coaching, counseling, and that's what we do. That's really basically what I do. That's basically
mm,
what I do.
okay. Mashallah, Jazakallah khairan for sharing that, and that's quite interesting to know. And yeah, you really wanted to do something about helping people. So that
Mm.
already had been there even before you decided to become a coach. Yeah, and
Mhm. Mhm.
does that mean that when you were taking sciences in school, it didn't occur to you that the subjects you were taking, like you mentioned that you didn't take literature, so you couldn't study law. So did that mean that
No, no,
when you
no,
were
no, no.
choosing your
I switched. I switched
Oh,
classes. Like I switched from my father convinced me to switch from science class to art class. So I actually later
okay.
on took all of the other subjects that I needed to take, and I actually wrote literature in Y.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the
Mm,
only reason why I didn't get law at that time is because the institution I wanted to go to said I needed to have written literature in JAM. So,
okay.
and that was just
Okay.
it. And we
Okay.
just sat and we decided, okay, it's not wasting time now. So yeah,
Uh,
but I really don't regret it. Yeah, I don't regret
Alhamdulillah.
not having studied though. I don't regret it. So yeah,
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Because in the end,
alhamdulillah.
the end has justified the means, in the sense that you wanted to do something even at the grassroots level, maybe somewhere. I can say that suits your personality, by the way, because you're somebody who seems, like, maybe you like the simple life, and simplicity, and probably that was one of the reasons that you would have preferred to be in a remote village somewhere. But as Allah would have it, here you are,
Mm,
you are in a city, and in spite of that, you are still making a difference. So Alhamdulillah, that you are still able to help people, to move from one point to another. Transitional coach, you said, mashallah, that's interesting to know. Okay, so another thing I'd like to ask you to shed light on is about your marriage. Before you got
okay.
married, yeah, and did you have specifications? Did you have any fantasy in your mind? Sometimes when you are young, you want to make a list and say, "This is the perfect man. This is my dream man." Did you have any of such ideas? And how did that go for you? And yeah,
Very funny.
share your experience.
Very funny because I think I don't know, maybe because of the kind of background and how I was raised. Um, I didn't have these like it wasn't like a strict rule kind of who this person had to be, but they were just the basics I was actually looking out for, right? So, um, I was looking out for a very diligent person. I was looking out for something that was caring. I was looking out for okay, but when it comes to the physics, I really can't deal with a man that is not tall. I don't know why, but I think that I kind of feel secure. Yeah. So I really can't deal with a man that is not tall. So yeah, I think that one I can say with his sake, is something. Um, yes, I really want to be attracted to a man at seeing him, right? So I want to be able to see him again and still adore and still like him, right? It's not about being very
Okay.
sexy, beautiful, very handsome, or all of that, no.
Mm,
But it's just about,
Mashallah.
me. I just want to see that, how they say the beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. I
Life
just want to
builder.
see that beauty and I want to
Mashallah.
be able to look at you. And so you have to be somebody
Mashallah.
whom I hope my kids can look like, not
Mm.
whom I'm thinking of when we come born pikin, how the children go look like. So, so yeah.
That's interesting.
So for me, that was it.
Mm,
So the man I actually ended up marrying was I think I would just say it was a friend. I would say because
Mashallah. Mm,
I met him from my first year in school. He was just about starting his master's degree, and we just got along. In fact, I actually saw him as an older brother because that's who he was. He check up on me, bring me novels to read and read and read, and when I'm done with this bunch, he'll come and pass them and bring more. So that was just it. And sometimes I'll be in the classroom and then I'll just be out, done with my lectures, and I'll just see him outside. Bros, when did you get here? I just said, come and check on you. How are you doing? That's it, though. 5 minutes and it's gone. So we're actually friends like that. So it wasn't like some people just jumped in. It didn't start like, no, I love you, you love me. No. We started as friends, we started as brothers and sisters. And
mm, mm.
I think 3 years down the line, we decided we wanted to have a serious relationship. That's even when we started talking about being in a relationship. So as far as we're
Mashallah.
both concerned, we were friends until like three years later. And then I thought about it and I say okay, and that was it. So that was it. So we got engaged
Mm,
and Fast forward to when I was graduating from uni, he was graduating for his master's degree, and we convocated together. A few months later, we got married. So yeah, that's it. And
Mashallah.
marriage, marriage is, I don't know, but a lot of people think marriage is full of, roses, like it's the bed full of roses, but I like to say it's the bed
Mm,
full of
mm,
corn and roses. There are a whole lot
mm,
of things that
mm,
you never see, no matter how you look before the marriage, you never see it until you get into the marriage. No matter how hard
mm,
you look,
mm,
no
mm.
matter how they try to even tell you or prepare your mind for it, it really won't hit you hard until you get into it and you begin to say that, oh, now so the thing they be, you know. Um, so
That's- mm. I think I lost you there. Audio? Okay, it's back.
okay,
Mashallah. Yeah.
so yeah,
Mm,
so for me, marriage was an adventure. It was a learning place. And my marriage was fine, really. My marriage was
mm,
interesting. My marriage was, I think it was easier for both of us because we had this set of values that we held ourselves accountable for. And that's one
exactly.
thing I try to tell a lot of people getting into marriage today. Like, you need to have this creed. Like, there has to be those values that no matter what, you guys
Mashallah.
are going to hold this. That's why you get into the marriage and they don't have anything guiding them as a couple,
Mm,
as a
true,
family. And so
true.
when somebody does something and it hurts you, against what are you holding that person aside from religion? There has to
Exactly.
be something that you both have sat down to talk about. That no matter what, you're going to be truthful. No matter what, um, no matter what issues come up, we're going to sort it out, and we are never going to
True.
sleep. Keeping malice. No matter, those are the things that we had.
Yeah.
That was just
Mm,
it. No matter
mm.
what, no matter how far you go, wherever you probably travel to, I'm going to check up
Yeah.
on you at least three
Mashallah.
times a
Yeah.
day. So
Mm,
those are the
true,
things. So it kept us,
true,
on
true.
our toes, and as a couple, each time we're trying to say how it could be better. I think that was it.
Mm,
You were trying to be better. I was trying to be a better wife. He was trying to be a
mm,
better husband because there's no
mm.
perfect
Mm,
husband or perfect wife. But when you get
absolutely
into the
not.
marriage and then you find your flaws, that's when you begin to see certain of your characters coming up. And when you identify those, then you want to work on them. So you want to do better.
That's
Like for me, I used to be very temperamental. Like forget that I'm chill, like I'm cool now. My husband actually played a very huge role in making
oh,
me cool
mashallah.
like this. Yes, because
Alhamdulillah for that.
any small thing like this, I'm throwing tantrums like, what? Like, oh, my wife, calm down. I know you're angry, calm down. And the way I saw insult your generation, hey, God, I've transformed. It is thank God. so,
Alhamdulillah. Mm.
so yeah, but a lot of you see today, they don't even know. You don't know people's
Mm,
story.
mm.
So I'm just trying to tell you how, and that's how marriage can mold you. But it's only if you're committed to becoming better in that marriage.
True,
Um, so for
true,
me, I
true.
learned a lot. I was already
Mm.
a selfless person, but I married someone who was more selfless than I am.
Mashallah.
So,
Allah Akbar.
so,
Mm.
and
That's
it
the
helped
best.
me to be more selfless. So, I married
Mm.
someone who was
Mashallah.
more selfless than I am, and it made me to be more selfless. I married someone who was very, very considerate and liberal,
Mm.
and
Mm.
you would want, is not like this authoritative person that wants to be like, do this, do that, do this. Yeah, he wants to get
Okay.
your opinion about what to do. He wants to be sure both of you
Alhamdulillah.
are on the same page, and
Okay.
all of that. And I think
Inshallah.
that those are things that some people also need to talk talk about before they get into marriage. I think that in the Muslim world, one of the things that we really miss out on is this premarital counseling. All you get is that 5 to 10 minutes, everybody chipping in their own advice for you on the night of your wedding when
Mm.
you're taking to
Mm.
your husband's
Mm.
house. Be
Mm.
this,
Mm.
be patient, yeah, don't do
Mm.
this, do
Mm.
that, don't do that, do this,
True.
don't do yourself. That's all you get. But when you look on the other flip of the divine, you realize that they go through a few months of, premarital counseling. preparing them for that marriage, turning them,
True.
you
True.
know,
Very true.
and
Very
even
true.
testing them and all of that.
Mm,
So, um, so I think we need to do more of that.
mm.
We need to do more of that. So yeah,
I
I
agree.
think that's a little bit about it. Yeah.
That was quite interesting to know. I like the fact that you mentioned the counseling aspect, because it's so easy to just blanket everything up and wrap it up under religion. And under religion
Mhm.
is the personality, under religion is the character of that person. Like
Yes.
he just mentioned how it changed you for better, that you used to be temperamental. Imagine if it was somebody that was hot-headed like you. I mean, what kind of combination would that have been? That would have been too volatile. Any little thing,
It will
the
be
spark would just come
disastrous.
out. you know
Very
so
disastrous.
absolutely. So we shouldn't deceive ourselves by thinking that just because somebody claims to be a Muslim, maybe because they observe their salat regularly, that you should not be blinded to their character flaws. Because being a Muslim
Hmm.
doesn't exonerate you from being human. You are human in the end, and we will definitely have our own flaws. Allah, who
Hmm.
created us, is the one who is not flawed. We as humans are flawed, which is why we must continually look inwards and try to be better, at our relationships, how we relate with other people. And that was quite interesting to know. And mashallah. um so I know that you've written 2 books, and I know that the books didn't just happen. I know that writing that book was
Hmm.
as a result of an experience that you went through in your life. Some people might not know, like myself, I didn't know until recently. And I think you're in the best position to share your experience, what happened, what brought you to that point that you had to write a book about grief. This
Okay, so
process
I've actually
and the other one.
written 3 books in paperback. So, and
Mashallah.
yeah, I have a couple of ebooks here and there. I'm working on another title. I'm not sure how I want. I'm not sure if I want to do it as a paperback, but it's a sequel to Dispossess. But
Mashallah.
um, 5 years ago, I lost my husband to a cardiac arrest fire in Milan. So I think,
Inna
and that
lillahi wa inna
experience
ilaihi
just
raji'un.
changed my life. That experience actually just made me see that, okay, this is the life now. I used to be a very caring husband who had provided everything that I needed. I didn't lack anything. I was used to, you know, um, him helping around the house. I was used to. I didn't even know how fuel got into the generator. You put the pressure even when you're traveling, make sure everything is okay. I
Mm,
didn't even need to bother about meat. He already has vendors that tell them, "Can you please take me to my wife on the
mm,
And when he's
mm,
around you, they already say he could go on weekends even before I woke up and go to do all the grocery and bring them home for me. So I was used
mm,
to that life until life happened.
mm,
And fast forward to 2016, and later on, when finally I was able to balance and find my foot back, I thought that it was important for me to share my grief journey with people. Um, Writing the book itself didn't mean that I was done grieving, because, like I tell people, I'm still grieving, but I'm grieving well.
mm, mm,
When it comes to a loss like this, there is nothing like grief has finished. Um There's nothing like come off it. There is nothing like the pain will just vanish. So don't
mm,
let anybody delude you, because around here people want to talk you out of your pain, they want to talk you out of your grief. But
mm.
what they should be doing is to be present for you. Be present for you,
Absolutely.
especially in the early days. So I actively
Absolutely.
grieved, of course, for about a year and a half or so, but I cannot totally say that the grief has finished totally.
Mm,
I cannot do
mm,
that. But
mm,
one thing I know for sure is that I've learned to grieve better. I've learned to manage my emotions better when they come up. I've learned to be, you know, I've learned to wear the shoe now.
mm, mm.
Still, it still doesn't fit well. It's a very wide one,
Can't even
but I've learned
imagine.
to carry it. It's a big shoe, but I've learned to wear it, and
Mm,
I wear it well and it looks like it fits, but I wear
mm,
it and I know it really doesn't fit.
mm,
But I know that I'm trying my best and Allah is
mm,
helping me to carry the responsibility and the burden and the amana.
mm,
Um, so yes, I went on to write from pain to purpose,
mm.
and later on I wrote a book. Help, there is a book in my head, strictly for people that also wanted to share their story. So people start asking me, "Oh, how did you do it? Want to do something like this?" So that was why I did that. And then I wrote Dispossessed, and that's
Okay.
strictly a book for grief, and
Mm,
not just for the loss of a loved one, but for the loss of anything at all. So people lose
okay.
their marriages, they grieve because they're
True.
losing a part of they've lost a part of their life.
Absolutely.
You've expended a huge part of your life in a relationship that crashed. So people
Mm,
grieve. People lose their jobs,
true.
they grieve. People have a miscarriage, they grieve. People have stillbirths, they grieve. People have,
Mm,
lose their babies, they grieve. People
mm,
lose their pets, they grieve. People
true.
are raped and they
Mm,
grieve.
true. Very true.
So, so grief it's a very big phenomenon that a lot of people don't even understand. They think that grief is just when somebody dies and then you have to mourn them,
Mm,
but it's
mm,
actually more than that.
very
So
true.
yeah, so that's it about my books. Yes, about you're
Mm,
interested in reading any of them, they're really available where do you
mm,
get them. When you follow any of my page, you can just send a DM or follow Books by BASHIRAT on Instagram. That's where all others for the book go to anyway. So yeah, yeah,
mashallah.
you can be able to order them via that page. So yeah,
Mashallah.
that's really it about my books. Yeah. I can't
Mm.
begin to talk about the content of the books. If not, people will start crying, looking for tissue to clean their face. So it's alright. They
I
need to
know.
read it at their convenience.
Mm, mm. I know. I know. I know. And I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive him all his shortcomings, accept his
Mommy.
return, illuminate his grave with nur, and reunite you in Jannah. You
I
are one
mean,
tough cookie. You are one tough cookie, I must say. The grace with which you carry yourself, the grace with which you do what you do, and you do it so passionately, without giving anything away. Nobody would know. Like you just said that you are the one wearing the shoes, and it's you. You know it doesn't really fit. People might think it fits because outwardly you are doing everything so gracefully, and alhamdulillah that you are able to carry
alhamdulillah.
on because you've got two kids, right? You've got two kids from that
Yeah,
union.
that's the
I'm
photo
sorry
of
if you
the
don't mind
book.
me asking. Okay, if you don't mind me asking, how long were you married before your husband passed
I was
away? How
married
long
for
was the
less
marriage?
than 5 years. Less than 5 years.
Subhanallah. Subhanallah.
Yeah, my first son was only 3, and my second son was only 6 months. It was only, yeah, 6 months.
Allah Akbar. Allah
Yeah,
Akbar.
so my second son doesn't even know his father only in photos. Like,
Subhanallah.
yeah.
Subhanallah. I can't even begin to imagine. And uh, I would like to know what kind of support system did you have when your husband passed away? And was it
Yeah,
family? Did you have to go for therapy? What kind of support did you get to deal with the loss?
plenty things. Hmm. You know how they say a child is everybody's child. So
Hmm,
when you get into this, you actually need different types of help from different types of people. So
true.
being vulnerable is key. But I remember my father was my number one support. But we actually lost him 3 months after I lost my husband. So the support
Subhanallah.
wasn't there for long. Yes,
Hmm,
and that's even another story. So, but the support wasn't there for much. So his aunt was with
hmm,
me for a couple of times, for some time, and I got his support from my brothers, um, and yeah, a little support from my in-laws. They did the little they could, and but I've gotten a whole lot of support from people I don't even know. I got
Wow.
support from two people who were my husband's friends, for some friends, and
Okay.
even up to now they still check up on me. Even
Okay.
when they can come, they still check up on the boys. How you
Oh,
doing? You
okay.
know. So,
Alhamdulillah.
but I still had to go for professional help
Mm.
because the loss of my father actually made me to trip off. So I
Mm.
actually
Mm.
had, yes. So I the help I've gotten, you don't even want to hear how much I've
Mm.
invested into regaining my
Mm.
sanity, how
Mm.
much kind of programs I've attended,
Mm.
a whole lot of things I've done really to just make
Mm.
sure that I have my sanity. And
Subhanallah.
alhamdulillah,
Mm.
one thing I know is that when people are in this kind of situation, they're probably worried about who is going to listen to me, when they judge me, this and
Mm.
that. But
Mm.
the
Mm.
reverse is the case, really. When you have a headache,
Mm.
when you have a fever, if you don't go to the doctor to complain that you're sick, nobody will just come and say, "Oga,
Mm.
madam, I think you are sick, or I think you look sick." No. And
True.
with this type of sickness, it's not even a physical sickness that they can. It's actually something that is from inside, and only you can actually feel that you are
Feel
sick.
it.
So how do people now find out that you're sick if you
Mm.
don't hint them, or you don't even, let them even have a glimpse of what you're feeling? So yes,
Mm.
being
Mm.
vulnerable for me was one of the best things I did. You know,
Mm.
Asking for help, looking for help
Mm.
everywhere I could find them.
Mm.
I still
Mm.
don't stop looking for help. Once I get to somewhere, a stumbling block, and I know I need help, I'll start looking around my network and see if there's somebody that can help. If I don't
Mm.
find, I'll ask somebody that I think can know somebody that can help. So for me, seeking help, being vulnerable,
Mm.
allowing myself to receive help,
Mm.
um,
Mm. Mm.
has been, those are really, have been really helpful for me on this journey.
Mm. Mm. Oh, Alhamdulillah. It's good to know that, you know, you didn't rule out getting professional help. I honestly cannot even begin to imagine how you dealt with that. To think that the biggest support system you also had, was no longer there just after 3 months of losing your husband. I can't even begin to imagine. And I love that you mentioned that you got professional help because of the misconception and the stigma surrounding therapy, and how sometimes we are clouded by religion, because some people will just tell you that it means you are not praying if you are still grieving, or if you are still feeling like there's a vacuum that's been created in your life. Some people, Astaghfirullah, could be so insensitive as to tell you that, why are you holding on so much? Don't you know that you're supposed to love Allah more, and that once this person is gone, you should accept it as Allah's will, and then just get yourself together. Astaghfirullah. Some people might
Yeah.
feel that way.
A lot of,
And
I've caught
mm,
you that a lot of people don't have good knowledge of Syria, because if they do, which is one of the things that really helped me again, going back to
Alhamdulillah.
Syria and
Mm,
understanding the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi
Sallallahu Alaihi
wasallam.
Wasallam.
And if you know Syria very well and you followed the story of the Prophet very well
So.
from genuine sources, you
Mm-hmm.
would realize that the Prophet was bereaved at very important stages in his life. As a
True.
child, he didn't have a father. His mother died when he
Very
was
true.
very young. He was moved to
Mm,
a caretaker, and then he lost his grandfather, who was his major support, and then he lost his
mm,
uncle when he needed him the most. So the
mm.
prophet grieved, and
So.
there were instances where the prophet cried. So when you
Absolutely.
now come and you're saying that, is it because somebody doesn't have? It's not about lack of iman. This
Absolutely
is
not.
not it. It is
Mm,
because
mm.
this is how God has made us. He made us human. And because He
True.
made us human, we can feel pain
Very
when
true.
adversity is occurred to us, when we
Mm,
experience loss, or when
mm, mm.
Allah tests us. So this is
True.
a test.
Mm,
And and everybody has their own way of coping through steps. What's most important is that you don't lose faith
Yes.
in the whole of the process. What's most important is that you don't begin to think God hates you. What's most
Mm.
important is that you don't begin to
Mm.
stray because
Mm.
of the test. Not that
Yes.
you're not going to cry, not that you're going to. Now they
True.
tell me that I'm supposed to love Allah more. Okay, schools are planning to resume. There are bills to
Mm.
be paid. Who
Mm.
does that? I've got a
Mm.
whole lot
Allah.
of bills to pay. I live in a
Allah
federal
Akbar.
capital city, and the bills there are double some other states. So I pay
Subhanallah.
bills back to back. I
Allah.
didn't used to pay bills before 5 years ago.
Allah Akbar.
All I needed to do was probably make the payment, but I'll just say, um, our electricity is running out. Can you send
Mm.
money for me
Mm.
to recharge? Our this
Mm.
is this. Can you do this?
Mm.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Mm.
Somebody
Mm.
was paying the bills. Now nobody is there to pay the bills again. And you said
Allah.
the person should not feel the vacuum. The vacuum will stare at you every day of your life. The
So true.
only thing you can do is to be courageous through it, to be able to deal with that vacuum. It is when we are able to deal with the vacuum of our losses, that is when we have
Mm.
actually moved forward. Not
Mashallah.
move on. Mark
Mm.
the words I use. I choose them. Move
Mm.
forward,
Forward.
because the vacuum will still continue to follow you.
So true.
Imagine your son, your 5-year-old son, asking you a question like, how come you survived and you died? What will you answer?
Allah Akbar.
So I
Allah
get a
Akbar.
lot of questions like that from my children. They ask me
Allah
foolish
Akbar.
questions.
Allah
So
Akbar. Mm.
I have to answer that. My children want some things at some point, and I know I cannot afford it. And I'll be like, you know what, guys? I'm sorry I cannot get you this at this time because I don't have that money, or because
Mm. Mm.
there are bills that piled up that needs to be paid, and until that, we
Mm.
can't get to this.
Mm.
So, but
Mm.
I didn't
Mm.
have to worry about all of that before. So it's
Mm.
going to be unfair when you think that people
Mm.
who are trying to just balance into their life and play these roles, these double roles that
Mm.
we play, don't have faith or
Mm.
don't have iman or don't. People need to
Azab.
go back to roots. We need to go back and go and understand this. Because I
Mm.
remember, if you follow Syria very well, you realize that in the early stages of Islam, you know, it wasn't advisable for you to go to the grave. Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
Yes, people weren't allowed to go to the graveyard. Like, it wasn't something you would just do. When
Mm. Mm.
Janaiza is done, they didn't even expect you that you go back to the graveyard.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
But the
Mm.
Prophet had to sought the
So
permission of
Salam.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to go back to his mother's grave.
Allah Akbar.
And when he got there, he shed tears.
Allah Akbar.
So,
Allah Akbar.
because this is somebody you cannot buy a mother in the market. Remember how Halima Sadiya took care of the Prophet, but it still can never
So
be like,
Salam.
you
True.
don't sell a
True.
mother in the market, and so they don't sell a father in the market.
True.
So when
Mm.
these issues are really very
Mm.
tough,
Mm.
and if you have
Mm.
not really experienced it, you really don't know what the other person is going through.
Going true.
And even if you have
Mm.
experienced something similar, you
Mm.
still don't know well enough because the own circumstances are different.
Mm.
So there were
Mm.
people who have lost their spouses as well, but not like
Mm.
my own case.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
So for me,
True.
my husband traveled. He was hale and healthy. He wasn't sick. He didn't go for medical treatment. He died. So
Allah Akbar.
I wasn't there. All I know is that I have a medical report that said he had a cardiac arrest, brain vertigo cardiac. Or how did those Italian people can say? That's the only thing that they even got in English inside the whole of the medical report. That's
Subhanallah.
easy for us to
Subhanallah.
understand every other thing that was written in Italian.
Wow.
So you can imagine that.
Mm.
So if
Mm.
somebody else lost her own husband, maybe he was sick and she was with him at the hospital,
Mm.
that's
Mm.
different. So the
Mm.
person got to
Mm.
spend the last days. See the circumstances around the Lord.
mm,
So
mm,
for
mm,
that's
mm.
why people grieve differently, because the circumstances around their loss differ.
Very true.
So even though you have lost your father, to have lost my father, but the circumstances surrounding the loss of my father and the loss of the other person's father is different. And so the way we are
I
going to
agree
grieve
with
is
you.
different. The
I
relationship
agree.
between me and my father was my bestie, and your father may not be your bestie, it could be your mother, is different. So it's going to affect how I'm going to grieve.
That's
So
true.
these are the
Very
things,
true.
and they're really,
Hmm.
may Allah help us.
I
Alhamdulillah.
mean.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Like I said, you are one tough cookie. Alhamdulillah. For the level of iman, for the strength that you've displayed, for the courage, and I know that there's still so much that has to be done. And I mean, the reality, like you said, is going to stare you in the face every day. And it's not enough.
Exactly.
It's not enough to have iman. You must have something doing, and then you have the iman
Mhm.
to stay positive that Allah will make things work out. We
That's
can't
it.
just be thinking that being a believer is going to sort all our problems and resolve everything. You've got to be up and doing, and then you use your
Mhm.
iman to pray that Allah blesses all your efforts. And I pray that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala grants you strength and grants you sustenance and
Amen.
help you with parenting and even for you yourself to heal better than you have now because I mean
Amen.
to lose a loved one in such a, a very unexpected way, like you said, he wasn't sick, he only traveled, and the circumstances are just shocking and highly unexpected.
Mysterious.
Absolutely. So even that alone, like you said, you got help, even that alone could have sent someone completely off the radar. That's enough. So,
Exactly.
so alhamdulillah that you've been able to write and put part of the lessons you've learned on this journey as a widow. And I pray that Allah makes your work, your parenting job, make it a lot easier. And do you think that in Islam, do you think that we give enough support to widows or widowers? Do you think we have enough support system? Like this issue of counseling now, do you think besides us giving admonition to each other, do we have anything in place for sisters in particular when they lose a loved one? Have you seen any organization? Has anybody approached you before? Do you think there's any in existence?
Yeah, there are a few. There are some here, and even my own organization, that's my NGO, Hands to Life. We actually do grief counseling. Like we do bereavement. We do a
Okay,
program called Life After Loss, Beyond Grief. So we do
okay,
all of those things, but because of COVID, we haven't been doing a lot, and we are trying to restructure the organization.
okay,
So,
okay.
but yes, so there are actually, yes, some organizations like that, and I even get to work with some of them. At least
Mashallah,
from the top of my head, I've worked with two other organizations aside from my
mashallah,
own. So I can
mashallah.
tell you that there are, and um, yeah, there are, but hopefully maybe there would be more,
Okay.
But yeah,
Mm.
there are, yeah, there are.
Mashallah, mashallah. Alhamdulillah, that's good to know. That's really good to know. And I hope that, they'll do more of creating awareness so that people can actually know that it's not as if we abandon our women completely when they are grieving, after losing their husbands, because there's a general belief in the society that widows suffer once the husband has passed on. And I see
It's
that
not
in
a
terms,
general belief. It is
it,
that aside from the fact that widows go through a tough time because most of them don't get the required support, and
mm,
most of the genesis of their sufferness are in-laws.
mm,
Now, to
mm,
put that one aside, widows also suffer because society actually thinks that you need to be miserable and live a miserable life because you're in that position. Yes.
true,
So a
true.
lot of people are surprised about how I'm doing it because
Mm, mm,
I've decided, no, I'm not going to live that miserable life, and I'm not going to introduce myself anywhere as a widow. I'm not going to
mm,
introduce myself anywhere as a victim.
mm.
That's never gonna happen. So,
mm,
but you also get a situation whereby the women themselves are victimizing themselves because they call in pity parties, that kind of thing.
mm.
So
I get,
they
I
want
get.
people to take pity on them. Some of
Mm,
them are even turning to a menace, like they go on looking for going in few groups and trying to go to rich men houses here in Abuja,
mm,
for money
mm,
and all that, to beg and all of that. So
mm,
it's actually very complicated though.
mm.
Because even some women I've worked with, I've gone on to see them in the front of rich men houses, or when they say one state governor came,
Subhanallah.
you go and see them, some of
Mm,
them gathered there. So the
Subhanallah.
mindset,
Mm,
of society and even the
mm,
widow, you know,
mm,
it's it's very complicated. And the in-laws where we have, in the case where you have greedy in-laws, these
mm,
are really very complicated. So,
mm.
and that's the beauty of Islam. The
Alhamdulillah.
beauty of Islam is that, somebody marries a woman and the woman gives birth to a child for that person. Number
Mm,
one, anything like brother or sister cannot inherit from that person. So that's the beauty of Islam. And so if
Alhamdulillah.
the parents are alive, then the
Mm,
parents can inherit. If the parents are late, if they died before the man, they cannot inherit.
mm,
Now,
mm, No,
so
that's
meaning that, aside from the parents, if they are alive,
mm,
it's the children and the wife that actually are supposed to inherit from the husband, not the brothers and the sisters.
very true.
Now, in the
Very
case where you have somebody who probably has a little bit of investment here and there, or property here and there, and he has
true.
greedy siblings, you start getting problems. You're trying to
Mm,
see how they want to seize all those things away from the woman, forgetting that the brother's children are dead and they're supposed to be catered for. So
true.
these are the issues, eh? It's
Mm,
we don't
mm,
even want
mm,
to go deeper into these conversations
mm,
because it's very
mm,
complicated.
mm.
So
I,
it's very complicated. And I can
mm,
only wish that it's better, And for us Muslims, it's even so much better, because we have something guiding us. And,
Alhamdulillah.
as the woman, if you're well guided, in the deen, and
Mm,
you know all of those things,
mm,
it makes it easier. Even if somebody's trying to take your rights and that of children away from you, it's easier for you to claim it. But if you
true.
don't know, how do you even fight for
Mm,
your right? So it's
absolutely.
just no way. We can't even begin to
Mm,
talk about all of this. So yeah.
mm. Yeah, Alhamdulillah. I get you. It's a whole can of worms on its own. Like if we
Yes, it
delve
is.
into it, like if we want to get into that, it means we have to actually devote an entire episode to discuss that. But I'm glad that you mentioned,
Exactly.
a bit of the reality that a lot of us may not know of, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, I also hope that in this age and time, more of us can begin to see things differently and not expect to see a miserable widow, or
That's it.
re- yeah, or refuse to see the woman still as an identity, because before she was married, she was an entity on her own. She's an individual on her own, and losing a husband does not take that right away from her. You are still yourself. You are still an
Exactly.
individual. You have a right to live life, to enjoy life, to be happy, and you shouldn't be expected to mourn forever and look miserable and be pitiable. To make
Yeah.
yourself,
That's it.
you know, yeah.
So a
So
lot
I
of
hope
people
that.
think that the women are nothing without their husbands. For me, a lot of people were waiting to see how miserable my life was going to turn out to you.
Mm,
Yes,
mm,
yes, because my
mm,
husband was a very good husband and he really did take care of me. And so they were waiting to see how we see even carry on.
mm,
They were waiting
mm,
to see how much of a mess my life was gonna turn out. Well, God shaped them. So it's
Alhamdulillah.
crazy. So I talk about all of these issues and
Mm,
but alhamdulillah, we really cannot
Alhamdulillah.
complain. I can tell a lot of people that I say, how are you? I say I can't complain. you know, I can't
Alhamdulillah.
complain. So yeah,
Alhamdulillah.
alhamdulillah.
That's good to know. Okay, so And now to something lighter. I I found out that you love tea, and I I'd like us
Yeah.
to, yeah, let's talk about that. Tea. Okay, to begin with, we are from a hot region. So our way of taking tea is different in Nigeria. What we are usually looking for is a chill tea on a very hot, hot afternoon, hot day. And so usually we are always craving something cold, not hot. But aside that, we still have people who love to take tea. At least we've known the Lipton advert since we were kids. So we know that people still take tea nonetheless. It's just that when they make hot tea, they end up adding ice. You'll still find them looking for chilled water to take tea. Even when it is Bonvita or Milo, you'll find that people will still be looking for cold water, chilled, to take it. So your love for tea, how did it happen and where did you get that from?
Yeah, my love for tea is something that's generational. I think I inherited that from my grandmother, my paternal grandmother of blessed memory. And
Okay.
so I learned to drink tea. Like tea was like an everyday thing, especially in the early mornings, and it was just a usual. It was like a tradition, really, as a family. And my father
Okay.
loved tea too, and all of my uncles, and even myself. So tea is like
Mm.
normal. Like we want to eat food, but we are looking for tea to drink first. Do you understand? You finish eating food, and you are looking for tea to step it down. So so it's like that. So I've
Mm.
always loved tea, and people around me already know that I really did love tea a lot. Different type of teas for different moods,
Mm.
for different times, for different
Mm.
reasons, you
Mm.
know,
Okay.
and all of that. So fast forward to 2016, I was finding different ways to cope, ways whereby I don't become addictive
Mm.
to drugs, to trying to keep myself to go to bed, because that's one of the
Mm.
challenges,
Mm.
trying to fall back
Mm.
and sleep. There were times
Okay.
when I'd be imagining that my husband would just walk back through the
Mm.
gate and just come back home. So I won't be able to
Mm.
sleep. There are times when I'm just scared for nothing. There are times,
Mm.
different things though. So
Mm.
there are times when I wake up from a nightmare. There are just different things. So
Mm.
so I was finding ways to sleep better, to enhance my mood and all of that. So I started making all of these little concoctions in my kitchen, different types. So just try mint and this, and see how I feel.
Okay.
And that's just it. And now,
Mm.
from trying to do that with myself, I'm thinking about how to do that for other people. And so we're looking
Mm.
at starting a tea brand, Try Africa, inshallah
Mashallah.
soon, and see how we can actually take, those my little mixtures and concussions, we can take it to the world and have people
Ah.
live better lives. So you don't have to take drugs because they want to sleep. They don't have to take drugs because they have a tension headache. They don't have to, they
Mm.
because
Mm.
they feel depressed. They can at
Mm.
least take something to feel lighter.
Mm.
Yeah, just that's it. That's really
Mm.
about tea for me.
Mm.
And yeah, I like to drink coffee because of the smell. The smell is infectious. It kind of calls you. Coffee has a way of calling you to itself, but you
Ah,
never still get enough of coffee. Like when
mm.
I drink coffee now,
Mm.
no matter how much I try to hold myself, I still find myself going back to make a cup of tea. Like seriously, I just waiting like, oh, I just been drinking this coffee, but man, I need to drink tea. I sure want to drink tea. So yes, so I take
Ah.
coffee sparingly, but
Mm.
tea in all seasons. So whether it's hot or it's cold,
Mm.
I drink
Mm.
tea, and I
Mm.
never have enough of tea. I tell people, when they say, "What's the one thing you're addicted to?" I be like, "I'm addicted to tea, and I don't want a cure for it. So don't try to cure me of that addiction at all." So yeah, that's it.
Interesting. Mashallah, that's interesting. And inshallah, I hope that sometime in the future we get to hear of your brand. I mean, Allah make it attainable.
Soon,
May Allah make
inshallah.
it, inshallah,
I
may
mean,
Allah make it. Let me just say salam alaikum to our viewers. I've seen Sister Islamia, Jazakallah khairan. I know you started with me. Uh, she was my first viewer of the day. Sister Ajarat, and there was Ustaz. Ustaz, I think I saw uh, Ustaz Yayi Muhammad Sanusi. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Amin, Amin, ya hala. Jazakumullah khairan, sir. I really appreciate you joining us on the show. Sister Islamia says that may Allah, that may Allah forgive. May Allah, just a minute, please. I think she said, may Allah forgive him and grant him Jannah. Yeah.
I mean,
Amin,
thank you, Sister
Amin.
Islamia. I mean,
Amina Yala, Jazakumullah khairan. And she says, yes, coffee, it calls my name. So you are also a partner in crime. I'm also that way. I try to stay away, but I can occasionally I take it every now and then. And mashallah. So that's really good to know. And so, Coach Bashirat ABDULWAHAB, check out her page. She's on Instagram. I follow her page. Is it Bashira, right? What's the
the
title?
Bashirat. The Bashirat.
Bashirat. The Bashirat.
D.
So D as in THE.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
The
follow
Bashirat.
up.
So you know she's the only Bashirat.
Mm. So yeah. So check out her page. Check out her page. She's on She's on she's on Instagram.
Hi, I'm back. Um,
Okay, yeah. Mashallah, welcome back. So she's on Instagram and she's on Facebook, and you can get the books. Just if you need any information about Dispossessed and from pain to purpose, just check out her page. Inshallah, you get the information you need there. And I hope that those of us who watch this show today have learned a thing or two, and the realities in our society about issues that we would rather pretend do not, are not happening, or uh, do not happen to people. But the reality is, every single day we have different people dealing with different issues, and beyond
mm,
marriage, there are so many things that we still need to pay attention to, and in particular, which was why I really wanted you to talk about your grieving process, and the support system, because this is the reality. We can't keep pretending that
mm,
every Muslima who is married, once you're married, that's the end. Or if
mm,
a partner, your spouse passes on, you grieve and you move on. It's beyond that. And I'm hoping that with time, will get to be more involved in creating awareness and creating support system, even counseling, premarital counseling. These are things that we need to be bringing into discussions. We shouldn't just stick to, okay, like, I know that sticking with the articles of faith is important, but then when you hit a brick wall, when life happens to you, you need your own people, you need your own tribe to be there for you. We
mm,
need that support system. We need to be there for each other. And sometimes it goes beyond monetary support, which of course, if it comes in handy, is very welcome, because the responsibilities of two people just became one person's responsibility now.
mm,
So we need a more we need a comprehensive system to see beyond marriage. What happens after then? How is this person? Whatever we can do in our own individual capacity. I believe that it is our duty as a Muslim, because Allah says that in normally mu'minina ikhwan, believers are family.
mm,
We are one family,
mm.
and Rasulullah says that a believer, the brother also is a believer is a brother to another believer. If he's happy, you are happy. When adversity befalls them, you feel the pain, and that is how we show brotherhood, sisterhood in Islam. We can't detach
Mm,
each other. We can't detach each other from whatever happens to the other person. So
mm,
I pray that we get to that point where we see beyond divisions that we have in terms of organizations or groups or segregation, whatever disparities we have, if we begin to see each other as one woman, I think that our focus, we can have a concerted effort into assisting, having organizations, having. I'm very particular about premarital counseling because there's this misconception that we don't practice it in Islam. There's a
Hmm.
misconception that we don't do premarital counseling. And what I know of, the one we do is not so pronounced. It's not so pronounced, such that people can't say it succinctly that we want to go for premarital counseling. Maybe it's just going to be one ustaz calling the brother and saying, okay, this is, we need to do more. Basically, that's just what I'm saying. We need to do more from the bottom and going forward. If anything happens, whether it's divorce or, as Allah will have it, death. May Allah make it easy for us. May Allah accept every little deed of ibadah, and may He forgive us for our
Um,
shortcomings. Any final nuggets, anything from you? I know you dish a lot of nuggets. I follow your page and I know that there's so much. You got stuffs there that people can learn from. So please, I will encourage again everybody, check out Sister Bashirat's page on Instagram and on Facebook. You get a lot of inspirational and motivational uh content from her page, and you learn more about what she does, so that if you need any coaching, transformational coaching, which she does, you can always get in touch with her. And so, do you have any final say? What do you want us to take home after all we've discussed today?
well, I think for me, the take home has always been that, be a good person no matter what. No matter what, don't let, you know,
Mm,
um, things happen. Because for me, a lot of things
mm,
that happens that if I'd follow the path of people and,
mm,
you know, and how I've been treated in certain situations, I
mm,
would,
mm,
I would have become a very different person, very,
mm,
very a person who feels that they've been treated and doesn't want to take a revenge or something like that. So for
I
me,
got you.
it's just been, I want to be the best that I can. I want to be good to anybody that I come across, regardless. I still want to be good to people that hurt me regardless. I don't
Mm,
want to, I want to end my life knowing that I have lived my best life, right? Knowing that
inshallah.
God has blessed me with an experience to inspire people, and I'm doing just that. Knowing that God
Yeah,
has blessed me with some kind of skills and knowledge, and I'm blessing other people with that. So I want to
mm,
die and knowing that, people will say, she lifted others. So I think
mm,
everybody needs to have this consciousness, what
very true.
do you really want to stand for? Who do you
Mm,
want people to see you as? And when you
mm,
die, what do you want them to say about you? Because sooner or
inshallah.
later, we are going to be gone. The other day, I was telling my boyfriend, guys, I don't know how long I'll be around for. We're not praying for
Mm,
this, but my
mm, mm,
experience with losing my husband woke me up from somebody like, what have you been doing? Been sleeping? Girl,
mm,
get to work because you don't know how
mm,
long you're here for.
mm,
We don't
mm,
know how long we're here for. We're here right now. We don't know what's going to happen the next moment, the next hour, the next day,
absolutely.
the next month.
Very true. Very
So
true.
we have to make every day count. That's
Very
it.
true.
And once today
Very
is
true.
gone, we're never going to have it back. So make every
True.
day
Very
count.
true.
Make sure every day
True.
you're doing something towards, that vision of yours. Make sure that every day you're taking
Mm,
a step. Make sure that every
mm,
day you are committing, no matter how little, you're doing
mm,
something that gives
mm,
you fulfillment and gives you joy. For me, being happy
mm.
and being joyful is like one value. You can't take it away from me. Whatever kind of negative vibe you bring, it's okay. Like, even if you want to, you carry a caterpillar to come and take it away from me, it cannot be, because it is
Mm,
a consciousness, something I work upon and I renew from inside out every day. And so
inshallah.
even when I'm sick, people don't even know I am sick because you can't even see
Mm,
it. It's never written on my face. because I
Mm.
decide that no matter what, I'm going to be joyful. No matter what, I'm going to be grateful. No matter how tough it gets,
Mm.
I never lose hope. So
Mm.
stay on the course.
Mm.
Allah's got
Mm.
our back all the time. And when certain things
Alhamdulillah.
befall us, know that Allah says that
Mm.
it is the people that He loves that He tests the most.
Mm.
And our
Mm.
tests
Very true.
come in different forms. Some people haven't been through
Absolutely.
1% of what I've been through, but already they feel their life is shattered. So you
Hmm.
can't discount anybody's pain. But
Very
understand
true.
that when Allah tests you, there is a reason. He wants you to be stronger
Very
and He
true.
wants you to come back to Him.
Mm.
Because it is in that test that you know that after all is said and done, this is who I need to go back to. You can imagine now.
Mm.
I don't have my
Mm.
husband
Mm.
and I don't have my father, but He is the one I still have to go back to every day.
Allahu
Because He
Akbar.
said that
Mm.
He has, for every soul He created, He has already made provision for them. So
Absolutely. Mm.
this is not about my husband being, being the breadwinner or my father being the pillar. It
Mm.
is about Allah. It's even
Allahu Akbar.
Allah that has decided to put them in my life, me in their
Mm.
life, bless us with each other. And it was time for
Alhamdulillah.
Him to take them, and He took them, but He has still
Allah.
sustained us.
Alhamdulillah.
So when you
Alhamdulillah.
go with this mindset every day, no matter the situation you
Mm.
find yourself in, you realize that Allah is enough for
Mm.
you. So
Very
go
true.
with that consciousness every day. And no
Very
matter
true.
how high it gets, Allah is enough for me. He's enough for me,
Alhamdulillah.
and I'm going to go through this. So yeah, don't let me
Mm.
take too much time again. Really, my
Mm.
tripod is not really standing well, so I'll be holding my device like this.
Oh, shame. Oh, shame.
My
Sorry
hand
about
is
that.
like I'm tired. I don't know what
Shame.
happened.
Sorry
One
about that.
somewhere broke, so I
Oh,
couldn't
okay.
play, and I thought I'd be wasting time trying to. So I
Oh,
just
okay.
said, let
So
me
you
hold it.
couldn't.
So yeah.
Oh, shame.
Thank you so much,
So,
Sister Bilkis, for having me. This was an amazing
Jazakallah khairan.
conversation.
Jazakallah khairan.
I
I
mean,
truly
why, yes.
appreciate you coming to the show, sharing your experience with us. It's been an eye opener, and it's also been a reminder to us that life happens, and it can happen to any one of us at any point in time. Death is real; it's inevitable. It doesn't announce itself, and we shouldn't
Yes.
take every moment for granted. And with that, we've come to the end of today's show. And I leave you with a simple phrase of saying, never lose hope in the mercy of Allah. Whatever you are going through, know that Allah is there for you, is there with you, and he will see you through it. Don't look for something that will derail you. Just stick to Allah and keep your iman, keep it intact, keep yourself around your tribe, people of same faith, like minds, understanding your families, your true friends. Let them be around you for support. And if you need extra support, never fail to consult specialists. So, that is the reality. All the help you can get from people, get it, and keep your faith intact. May Allah make it easy for us. I say Jazakumullah
Amen.
khairan to everyone who has joined us today. Inshallah, I'll see you again same time next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam. My salam, sisters.
Bye.